Welcome back, everybody. Just about to order some food, chillax for the weekend. I want to say thanks for everybody who's gotten coaching so far, and I know you guys are enjoying it. You guys are doing deck buildings and honestly winning more events. You guys went out like this weekend, last weekend, and are getting ready for new type challenges, getting ready for regionals, and your decks are performing way better, which is great. I think we got some new. If I go to my Discord here real quick, I think we got some new recommendations, testimonials. So since last time we pretty much got, we had Pale here. Juan gave me his rundown of how he liked it. And we got Dan here. Dan signed up from YouTube from the clan videos and is doing really, really well. And Spyro also signed up, and some of the other guys who are, around and have gotten better with my coaching. Thanks for, supporting me and signing up. And honestly, like, I enjoy teaching a lot. So anyone out there listening who also wishes to learn from me, learn about deck making, or how to play better, how to like learn better and faster, feel free to reach out to me at Coach Wing Zero on Discord. Today we're gonna be talking about this deck that a lot of people think that tournament heavy or coaches or very serious players don't take the game for fun. They're just like, oh, try hard no matter what. But honestly, I play a lot of different decks. I play everything. If anything new comes out like Cyclops team, I play every single deck in the game because I enjoy playing card games. I enjoy learning about not just what's the best, but also how can a different deck get better if cards come out, like how does that like look in the deck, and I can make adjustments quicker if I have already played it or put a lot of time into it. So this deck here, the very first thing you guys might see, well, we got Forbidden Gundam in here and Raider Gundam, Rider Gundam, and we got Orga here, right? So these three pilots. Why are these in the deck? Well, this is going to be mostly focused on the Triple Ship Alliance build. We're getting a new support apparently next month with the new starter deck that has, the Triple Ship Alliance, three different colors all in one. So that's going to be very interesting to see where that leads us and how many LRs and like a lot of impactful cards we get. We might get series support, and this deck might be super upgraded into like a competitor in the meta and so on. So one of the reasons why we're going down this route and these selection of cards is because in the current metagame, and this is why I hate these metas, it's very difficult to attack the aggro matchups and also attack the like ohm decks. Okay, we can't beat everybody in the game. We're not the best deck in the world. So something like a road deck, we can kind of decide, hey, let's hyper focus on trying to beat a specific style of deck. So in this case, we're trying to beat up on obviously the aggro decks because we have all of these blockers. We have the classic Kira package, and we get to the late game and we can basically stun lock them with Freedom Gundam and all of our other cards. If we play into the ping deck in particular, we can also have Raider Gundam here, which if you guys don't know, this is one of the tech cards along with Freedom Gundam that I was using. Well, not too much of Raider Gundam, but more like Freedom and the Pilot to act as our Amuro into the mirror match to tap our opponent's blockers so we can swing into them. Particularly Freedom. We don't have any Freedoms in this current deck because I added this new Freedom in instead. If you wanted to add the old Freedom level 7, you can cut these back and add those in instead and run super, super heavy on crazy blockers. But let's start off with M1 Astra here. I like this card. It's one of our beatdown units. We can actually swing at our opponent instead of running Zowarts. If you want to be super, super defensive, obviously you can play Zowart instead and up your consistency of blockers all the time. I chose to keep it on theme as possible, so it just gives me diversity in how I want to play the deck and enjoy different cards, whether it's the best in slot or not. So M1 Astray is very, very good in terms of like trying to attack our opponent, getting their EX shield down, and then just start railing on them because it's not going to be the blocker slop of like play blockers, get to late game, play Wing Zero, or play Freedom and play Show Resolves and all that stuff. But we're not trying to win through like inevitability. We're actually trying to beat our opponent's face in and win the game by dealing damage to them. So when they can't attack us, we attack them, and then we try to take momentum away from them as quickly as possible. Classic for Lifrith here, nothing to really say, just blocking. Two Rick Diaz's. I found that running this deck, we were kind of like a little bit short on some early game blockers. Sometimes we just wouldn't see a Lifrith or an Astray. And so I added two Rick Diaz's into the list. Basically, you can put in short resolves, whatever you want. But we're playing two Rick Diaz's here against a 3-3 satellite, so I can trade into other units. I can also just swing at the EX base and take it out. So that's why we're running two of these. Sword Strikes, 4 copies because we're trying to maximize our efficiency into the aggro matchup. This card in particular, a lot of people in the Discord when I was playing this didn't know that Sword Strike links with the Orga, Court, and Shani, right? This pilot has the Earth Alliance. It's the only other Earth Alliance in the game besides Kira at the moment. So it can actually link with our Sword Strike. Moving on to Ale Strike, right? This is the new Ale Strike card. We're not playing any overflowing affections in this deck. The reason why we're not playing any is because, well, I don't want to really discard any of my blockers. We're just going to play all of our units and start beating our opponent down. And, playing overflowing affection, yeah, we can go find other things, but all we're going to try to find is more blockers. So there's no real reason to include it in the deck. And we have this guy instead. So it'll strike Gundam when we play it after our M1 Astray, right? So we're gonna basically discard something and draw a card. Well, draw a card and then discard a card. So that's essentially our overflowing affection. Now, why are we running multiple of these? Is because not just for overflowing affection and cycling reasons. My wing players from GD02 essentially who went to regionals, who topped regionals, one of them ran a lot of ale strikes or launcher strikes in this particular case, right? So GD02 launcher strikes. This is a triple ship alliance card, so I'm running this one instead just for triple ship reasons. This card in particular was very, very strong against the blockers because it couldn't out it. It was a card that Shenlong couldn't just kill. So Ill Strike is in the deck just to block out, survive, and be our bigger Lifrith to deal damage, and then also cycle through our cards. Now, if I was gonna build this deck and change this card out, I would change it out immediately for Launcher Strike because Launcher Strike is a Earth Alliance link and it links with Orga, right? Linking with Orga and Kira at the same time means we can actually play a 5/5 beat stick, swing it into our opponent, and start doing a lot of damage. But in this particular case for the video, I've just kind of put it as Ale Strike here, just so we can kind of stay on theme with triple ship and have some sort of like consistency of overflowing affection. If you guys are like, oh, where's overflowing affection? I really want to run it. Well, I'm going to be honest, you guys can just cut naval bombardments and unforeseen incidents and so on and make your own changes. Moving on to Ale Strike, standard 4 copies, nothing to really say here. One thing I will say if you're playing into a blocker matchup, in particular as an aggro player or as any player at all, stop attacking the blocker player, okay? If you know they're going to play Ale Strike on level 5, like level 5 is coming up, expect the Ale Strike drop. Don't swing. If they want to play Ale Strike and link it with Kira, they can go ahead, but all they're going to do is bounce the card, and they're not going to be able to bounce the card and attack into something else. So if you're playing Ale Strike in particular, just be aware, don't swing, take a turn off, and let them play the Ale Strike out and do other things. So Rider Gundam here, this is the tech card in the deck, which is particularly, I like the level 5 3 cost. This card is particularly in here because we want to draw cards off of all the decks in the game that are currently trying to ping us off. If we play this card against a red-blue deck or a heavy red deck, they're going to have to start casting spells at it, command cards, and destroying our Rider Gundam, which is going to give us extra draw power, right? So it basically replaces itself. Sometimes purple, they have to ping you because it's a mandatory effect, and this is the only unit on the board to ping. They'll ping Rider Gundam. It's going to survive because it takes like 1 or 2 damage. Then again, next turn, they're going to try to ping it off, and it's going to give us another card. So this card is really, really good against that particular matchup. So I put like 4 copies in here to test it out. And I did find in some of the games that I was drawing basically every time I would play this, I would draw a card. I had 2 of them on the board at once, and they basically had to play multiple pings and then ping everything on the board. And I kind of just drew a bunch of cards. And then Wing Zero as well, right? So you think that this is only for the purple decks or red decks? No, Wing Zero. They're going to drop Wing Zero at some point. If you have this card on the board, like turn 6, drop 2 of these, we know they're going to play Wing Zero at some point. When they play Wing Zero, we will just draw 2 cards because it's a 4 HP unit. It's not going to die from Wing Zero, and we can continue to do damage to them, and it's really good. So Forbidden Gundam, we're playing here because it's a blocker, and that's kind of it. You could run more copies of this. I was running more of these, but since we're in a more like ping damage meta, I've decided to go with the Rider Gundam instead for that extra draw power. And this also means we don't have to play as many show resolves and spend resources playing a show when we could spend resources playing an actual unit, and then the unit will ultimately let us draw extra cards. Freedom Gundam, this is a new card that I think a lot of people are kind of down on, and I don't know why. Like I guess I kind of know why, obviously, but I think this card is still really, really powerful. Now we're gonna get new support, down the line, Freedom, Kira, Triple Ship, all this stuff. So this card might get a lot stronger in terms of like where it's applicable, basically. But at the moment, this card is made to stop aggro and stop taking damage. I played games against Freedom Gundam where if they have Freedom Gundam and blockers, I just can't kill them. I can't kill the Freedom Gundam, and I cannot attack their shields. Right? For you guys don't know how this card really works, is this card negates all damage that goes into the shield area. Well, sorry, not all damage. Battle damage that goes to the shield area, which means that if you have a base up, the base will still take damage. You can still kill the base. If you have breach, breach will still work, but you cannot swing directly into the shield and deal damage to shields in particular. So this card is really, really good when you're playing against an aggro deck and you do have all of your blockers up and they don't want to swing. You play Freedom Gundam, you link it with Kira, you swing, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, I think I'm dead because I can't kill the Freedom Gundam because I gotta get around the blockers. A lot of people are not playing Char anymore, so they can't high maneuver into the Freedom Gundam. And so they have to send basically their whole board at it and lose all their guys to our other blockers on the board. If they can't out our blockers and our Freedom Gundam, we have Sword Strikes and Ale Strikes to keep bouncing them and building up our own board. So Freedom Gundam, for that reason, is in the deck. It's Triple Ship Alliance, which works with our base and our other pieces. So we're running this one over the other one. This is going to be more of a beatdown version. So we're going to end up playing like Astray into Striker Gundam, Ale Strike here. Then we go into Ale Strike Gundam from the LR from the Star set, bouncing a card. And then we continue down either Freedom or Raider Gundam from the ping matchup, or Freedom Gundam if we just want to play something and link it with Orga in the blocker matches. We can tap a blocker and then swing into it, forcing them to block or forcing them to leave their blocker to die. Justice Gundam, this is one of our combo pieces with our Eternal base that we got here. Because on level 7 we can play Justice Gundam, get 2 triple ship units on the board, and they play Eternal to bounce one of their cards. So in the late game, if we're against Corsica tokens or a striker pack, we can continue to bounce and keep momentum up, especially when they're overloading the board. We can get a blocker out from Justice. We can Eternal bounce something and they have to replay and get through the base and the blocker, and then the Justice when it can swing. Now, Naval Bombardment, this card did see some sort of play thanks to Holly TCG, mostly taking this card and using it a lot. Now, I think Naval Bombardment is a great card. It was obviously designed to work with blockers in particular. This is a very blocker heavy deck. How are we going to deal with Gundam links on curve? Right? They go to Gundam link, they attack into our Lifrith, we go Naval Bombardment. 5 AP kills Gundam. They go lock on into Rig Diaz or into our Ale Strike. We kill lock on and they don't get any value out of it like over time. Then we can use it with our higher level units because we're playing so many level like 4 stat line blockers. When O comes online or Wing Gundam, we can just play Naval and pop the Wing Gundam or the O Gundam, right? Because they're going to tap our units, they're going to swing into us thinking, okay, we got to get rid of this guy with our 7/7. All of a sudden, Naval Bombardment comes in and pops their unit. So this is how we're kind of combating their late game or mid game, I would say, actually, like level 7 is around the mid game level, and then how we're going to combat like Wing Gundam in these cards. We want their cards to basically go away, trade their big units and their strong pilots for our blockers and a simple command card, while our pilots will be used more aggressively in the early stages to link and control the aggro side of it, and then link for like finishing off their units and the game. But Naval Bombardment also is like just a good card from shields. If we're playing in the aggro matchup and they do hit our shields, we can slow them down because it's got the unforeseen effect where it gives a unit -3 AP, which comes up and is nice. Same thing with unforeseen incident. We're playing unforeseen here because sometimes they want to swing into us with Wing Gundam, and we can just give something -3 AP. They want to swing into us and we don't have a Naval Bombardment, we can just give it -3 AP. This also works with our units like Raider Gundam that doesn't have the block keyword, so we can keep it around. It works with Sword Strike, and it also works with Freedom Gundam, so they can't just take it out in one go. And the best thing about Unforeseen Incident is that, our opponent wants to swing at our shields with exactly 5. They have a Char or something. Unforeseen Incident, our shield sticks around, and now they have to get through, the base again, and we can kind of keep it healthy, especially when we're running out of bases in the late game, or we just don't play that many in the first place. We're only running a single copy of Short Resolve because, as other decks like to run 3 or 4. We're running 2 Justice Gundams, which basically acts as a +1 because We play Justice Gundam, we get an additional card, which is a token. We play Show Resolve, it gets us 2 cards. So Justice Gundam plus the token equals 2 cards, and Show Resolve equals 2 cards. Because this is more of a beatdown style deck, we're really trying to gain tempo and aggro our opponent out of the game once we get through that early stages, the rough patches against like aggro, and we can stabilize. We really want to start going aggressive on our opponents and close the game out. Against blocker decks, we can just tap everything, bounce everything, and keep on the pressure and hopefully get through them before they have a chance to get to like turn 6 and 7 with multiple units. They're gonna have to like play Wing Gundam, take up their whole turn while we play multiple units a turn in the early stages of the game. So Show Resolve is here just as a third inclusion because I'd rather play units instead of just playing a card, drawing cards, and then not being able to play the rest of my turn as well as I want to. Kira and Orga are our main pilots because they're both Earth Alliance. What this means is that the link with Sword Strike, one of the big things with Sword Strike is you draw Sword Strike, but you don't draw Kira. Now we have 8 pilots in the deck in total, so we can always link Sword Strike on curve or when we have it in our hand, and that's really, really useful. It obviously pairs with Ale Strike, so we're running more pilots, and then it's useful with if you swap out the Ale Strike for Launcher Strike. Launcher Strike also uh, pairs or links with Orga, so we can always immediately put in a 5/5 beat stick and start swinging. I like Launcher Strike a lot more because you can link with Kira, make it a 5/5, almost like a baby Kshatriya or a baby Deathlight, and so on, and just start swinging into our opponent, -2 AP. It sticks around. We have multiple links. So in this deck, when we have a pilot, we can pretty much almost link it with anything that we have in our hand, or we're going to draw into it relatively soon. Our final base here, I'm honestly just running Eternal because it's a triple ship themed base. And so I thought that I would stick with that theme going forward. And I don't know how I feel about the base. I did enjoy that it came out from my shield and was still able to bounce something. Like, thank God that works. Otherwise, probably be cutting this. This is not a Kusanagi because Kusanagi only has 4 HP. So we're sticking with the 5. You can swap this out for Argama or other options if you like. That's up to you. I don't really, you know, I like the combo that I can do with Ale Strike with Justice Gundam here, and I really, really like Justice Gundam. If you guys were thinking that this was going to be a Athrunzala build, I'm sure you guys have already, like, anybody who enjoys Triple Ship probably has put Athrunzala into their decks. You guys have played around with it. You guys pretty much know what cards are going to go into it, right? The new cards that came out, the uncommon Athrunzala and the level 8 cards that came out are pretty solid, but ultimately I find that I'm not using them in this deck because I'm not trying to go super late game. Also, quickly, Witch and the Bride is really, really good if you're having trouble against like the Unicorn Banshee mode decks. This card just bounces Unicorn combo and it bounces Banshee mode, in particular against the red-blue matchup. So this is a great include. I always find Witch and the Bride is a very, very good card because it can bounce Ale Strike and allow you to swing into your opponent. It can bounce basically just Ale Strike. So it's really, really good. It also activates some shields, so it can like your opponent thinks he's safe, all of a sudden he's not. Is a good inclusion. Perfect Strike, again, if you see here, Earth Alliance trait, it can link with both of our pilots. So I really like both of these pilots. They're really, really good. I'm not running this card. I know some people have been running more of this just because it bounces the 1 HP tokens, which are kind of going around, and they want more durable units rather than having the like lower cost units because Wing Gundam cannot swing into a level 5 unit, which is why this was included. Why are we not running striker packs in this deck? Mostly because we could honestly cut all the Eternals and just run more striker packs, but we have so many blockers that I really don't feel like we need striker packs. We're trying to protect our shields at all costs with this deck, so we're never going to get the burst activation, and playing it from our hand, we are already playing like so many blockers that what is the point of playing a token that gets bounced off Ale Strikes? So we do not want to go negative in our total of cards and give our opponent a card advantage because it does come down to like, oh, they added our card, oh, they played Ale Strike. At least if they bounce one of our other Gundams, our other cards essentially, we can replay it and it's more okay. Then we have cards like Gundam Farak, which is just a night beat stick. This could be included in the deck if you just want to beat her, but honestly, at that point, you can put in, other cards, and I'd rather just not play this card in this deck in particular. We have cards like Rebuild. We're not playing as many Show Resolves. We don't need it. If you were to cut all the Justice Gundams, then it wouldn't be a triple ship deck, so we're not going to talk about that. I tried Freedom Gundam as a 2 of in the deck. or like 3 of over the other freedom. But I don't want to get to level 7 before I can play this card. So I've been sticking with the other one just because it comes out earlier and we are trying to beat our opponent down rather than playing this super, super defensive late game thing that honestly doesn't even work anymore because O Gundam exists. So this card is a nice blocker. If you want to include it, you can. I chose not to because it's just a little bit too high curve for me and I want to play more low to the ground. These new cards that came out, Justice Gundam Meteor and Freedom Gundam Meteor, okay? I don't know, man. They're uncommons, which basically tells me that these are not LRs. These are not meant to be played like in 4-ofs or anything. These are just cards that they put out with some sort of abilities and are generic, like, units. Maybe they'll get better. I do think that the ability to, when linked with Athenzala, if you are playing a red style, is very useful. But it's level 8. Like, I might as well just play Wing Gundam with all blockers at that point and kill everything. But if you want to play red with it, it's here. It's fine. Um, I don't know what else to say. With Athenzala, it does become a 7/8, which is very powerful into like the O decks because it can't kill it basically, and you can kill them and survive. So that's useful. The Freedom Gundam, on the other hand, like it links with Kira, so we technically could put in the deck, and it is a 6/6 beater. But I don't know what to do with this card. Like all my cards will be dead because they're gonna get pinged off or ring zeroed and so on. Then we get to the late game around level 8. If we deal battle damage, it bounces the card to their hand. That could be bad because then they get to refresh all their HP, right? So it is a you may effect, right? I'm reading it right now. You may return the enemy unit to the hand. I don't exactly know how this card is going to like fully work. Obviously, with blockers, you can just block and then bounce, right? And like you just bounce them over and over again while losing your blockers. So at least the units don't stay on the board and they gotta use resources to replay them. I just don't think we're going to level 8. We're really trying to win the game a lot earlier with our aggression and then bouncing and controlling the tempo. Even Justice Gundam could be cut, but I really do like Justice Gundam, and I'm not too much of a fan of Show Resolve. You could definitely cut a Show Resolve, put in Overflowing Affection, cut some Nail Bombardment, put in more Overflowings, right? So these command cards right here is kind of where you're looking at. Well, mostly these 6 here, where you can cut a lot of these and put in whatever cards you want. Like, you want more blockers, you want Muga Fagla in here to like bounce, you want Witch and the Brides, you want more bases, that's up to you. You want to swap these up for Argama, totally fine. And then obviously you can play Gundam Amuro and take out all of this entire package, but I really want to test out and utilize this Rider Gundam. So let me know in the comments if you guys tested out. How did it do for you? How did you enjoy playing Rider Gundam? What did you find it interesting that the Orga pilots basically links with the rest of the Earth Alliance cards and Sword Strike in particular? And have you been trying Triple Ship Alliance? Because I've been seeing a lot of builds out there for Triple Ship. I know people are trying to build it in GD01 and 2 because, like, it's your favorite series and so on. And Athens Zala is there. I found that you're going to build the Athens Zala version. You kind of know what goes in there. You're not even using a lot of the red cards. If you want to go the full burn package, any of you guys been watching my videos know that I like playing the full burn burst style so that I can counter the aggro matchups, and adding it to white is going to be perfectly fine. And I already built decks with that with Academy and so on. So we're more focusing on a pure um, Hero package with Orga to make Earth Alliance work, and then using these technical cards to see like how impactful are they realistically, and then also trying to go deeper into the new freedom we got, rather than just playing the old freedom blockers or swapping up for zero or swapping up for O. We're trying to stick with freedom, essentially utilize Kira more importantly. And I know the new tab is coming up. Kira is the winner card along with the Freedom, the level 7. So hopefully you guys go in and win it. I know anyone who's gotten coaching so far is doing really, really well. If you guys are interested in coaching, again, let me know in the comments or just add me on Coaching Zero. My coaching, by the way, is not like other coaches where you might think we're gonna sit down, have a session. He's gonna show me how to play against this matchup, how to go through the lines, how to like what cards are better, what cards are not better. But that's why I'm making this video. Like the deck kind of will tell you. Like I always try to explain my decks thoroughly, not super thoroughly, like super super in deep and talking about all the cards, but I try to give you like why I am building the deck a certain way. And I don't go into deck building skills. That's more on the coaching side of it. And all of you guys who have signed up for coaching, I appreciate you a lot. Make sure you guys hit the like, sub button, share this around, and let me know what you guys think. Honestly, I'm really interested in hearing what you guys think because my wing deck is, on the back burner. We got regionals and nationals coming up, so you guys will be excited to see how that's going on. Eggman's got his event, that just happened, and Wing won it. Honestly, I don't think a lot of people are gonna say that Wing is not one of the best decks, in my opinion, who are like very, very competitive. But Wing winning online events is like whatever. It's all about what happens in real life because there's gonna be way more people, better players playing in it. Because not to take away from people who are winning the online events, but not everybody's actually going to compete in it. And you're playing from home, you're relaxed. It's like very, very new, and a lot of people are not going to go on Eggmans to test out their decks and show everybody, hey, I am the old and regional champion or top 32. I'm going to take this card, this deck in particular, and then everybody can kind of copy me. They're going to hide that information, not give it on Discords and so on. So we're going to wait to see how, you know, the weekend kind of turns out, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this. And coach is gonna leave now. See ya.